Hey, mediocre gamer fam. What's up? What's going on? It is I, Anthony Elliott. I'm here with my best friend in the world, AJ. AJ, how are you, AJ?
Hello, I'm doing pretty good. Just got off work as always. It's a Tuesday. Another day, another dollar. How are you, Anthony?
I'm great. I'm a little sleepy, but it's okay. I'm used to it by now. I'm addicted to caffeine, and like I thought I was mini tangent. I go on these tangents every episode. One day I'm
I
gonna
love
stop.
them. I love them. Keep them
I
coming.
was you loved my thank you, AJ. Oh my gosh. Let me know in the comments down below. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know if you like my tangents. But I'm gonna go on until y'all tell me to shut up. Anyway, so I was addicted to caffeine for like a long time. It was bad. Like I used to I used to go to Target and get like those cases of Monster, and at any given point for like a good 6 months of my life, I would have at least one Monster Energy drink percolating in my system, and I kept the case in my car, and I used to just buy them periodically. It was bad. Like, it was to the point where, like, I could literally drink Red Bull, Monster, whatever, like soda, and then I stopped drinking it for like a year, and I was like, yeah, I'm fine. And then I got back into it, and I'm just gonna say it like this: I wouldn't do cocaine ever in life, but if cocaine is anything like caffeine, I completely understand. That is not why we're here, AJ. It's a gaming podcast. Jesus. All right. We are here because we've got a weird announcement from Sony. Not today. This past week, I've
Hmm.
made this mistake numerous times. Sony has announced that they're not releasing any exclusives this year.
Which is crazy to me because last generation, the PS4, they had their foot on the gas the whole time, down hard, dropping exclusive after exclusive, and new IPs, not just sequels like
Yeah.
we've seen this generation. We've really seen no new IPs from them. I'm sure there's been one or two I'm not thinking of, but we really haven't seen many, and at least big ones. And so we're seeing a lot of just sequel after sequel, and they've been good. I'm not complaining fully, but they've definitely taken their foot off the gas a bit. I've noticed that.
And this is what's interesting about that. You have to remember that the PlayStation 5 has sold the Xbox Series is by about a factor of two, about twice as much. It's pretty crazy.
That still doesn't seem right, that number. Like I thought it would be higher. 2 seems a little low, but then again, like, that's just from my experience. Everyone around me has a PS5, but that's just around me, right? And so
Right.
I figured we'd be up into the 4 to 5 times more, because I just, like, it doesn't seem like many people give too much of a shit about Xbox, but I digress.
So here's the thing. Nobody cares about Xbox, but I'm gonna end up getting the Xbox solely for Stalker 2. Like literally it's the only reason that I even want an Xbox. It would be Power World, but that's not even exclusive because Microsoft didn't think that this would be a big thing. Nobody did. That's not the point. Because now we are here to tell these gaming companies all the money that they are losing because, hey, there are a lot of games. There are a lot of gaming IPs, and a lot of those gaming IPs have spin-offs, and we're going to talk about them. Some of our
Spinoffs,
favorites.
baby. All right,
Heck yeah.
Anthony, if you want to kick us off.
Oh, heck yeah, dude. Gears Tactics, that Gears of War tactical game, listen, okay. Gears Tactics, that was like a weird phase in gaming just as a whole, where gaming companies were taking these IPs and turning it into something that didn't work. But Gears Tactics did. There was a couple of other strategy games that like genuinely made you go, wait a minute, this is actually kind of interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's back in the same kind of era. I mean, Gears is towards the tail end of this, but the same kind of era when companies were making a bunch of new IPs, trying a bunch of different stuff, because game development wasn't nearly as expensive as it is today. So I think people were willing to
Yeah.
do a lot more with spin-offs, because I feel like you see a lot less these days. It doesn't mean you don't see them, but it feels like it's a lot less.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. I mean, what's the last spin-off game we got? Spider-Man Miles Morales? Like what's the
Yeah,
last
I mean,
one?
and even then they consider that to be like mainline. I mean it.
And it is mainline.
It
Feeds
is,
into the
but
second game and whatever, and then we got a Venom game that's technically a spinoff because whatever. That's another thing.
but
AJ, what's some of your favorites?
so another game that kind of in the same vein where it could be a main story, but it's not really. It is a spinoff. Tiny Tina's Wonderlands. Borderlands spinoff.
Ooh.
You know, it plays just like a Borderlands game. It actually advances it. It adds melee and I think a new element, if I remember correctly, but a bunch of new gun types, different classes, different stuff. And while technically it is in the world, the canon world, you know, but I mean, they're just playing a game and you're replicating that game like Dungeons and Dragons while stuff's going on, but like nothing's really happening during that in the background. It's just some characters playing games to take their mind off of the current events. So it's not like it is a spin-off, but it's in that weird realm of like, technically it's canon if you if you think about it.
If you think about it, that Borderlands is the most interesting case study of just games, because the first Borderlands was like, all right, cool, whatever, and then like you get to Borderlands 2, this is fun. Did they make a Borderlands 3? Am I blanking on Borderlands 3?
Oh yeah,
does that not exist?
So two is like the golden child. You know, we had Handsome Jack,
right? That's everybody's favorite.
Yeah, everyone jerks off to that
I can't
one.
Remember 3.
Then they made another spin-off called Pre-Sequel, which was in between one and 2, and that one is fine. And then they made 3 on the PS4. It was back when I was in college. I don't remember what year. I'll have it up. But it is also like the gameplay best it's ever been. It's phenomenal. The story is asinine.
Yeah, and then even with like the Borderlands, like the Tales from the Borderlands, like those games are unironically really good and interesting.
Those are like
makes me wonder why we.
Oops, sorry,
I was just gonna say, it makes me wonder why we haven't seen more Borderlands stuff. Kind of like how what The Walking Dead did with Telltale Games, and like Telltale Games made Tales from the Borderland. But if we had like a Borderlands show that was also a spinoff, from the mainline story that kind of covers the same areas and get some cool gunfights, that could be really fun. That's money on the table.
We do have a Borderlands movie coming up. I don't know if you knew about that. I'm a little nervous. I'm a little nervous.
You should be,
because they casted, the rest of the cast looks fine, but there's one that has me really nervous. It's Kevin Hart as Roland, the one serious character in the game.
Here's the thing about Kevin Hart, okay? And this is a mini tangent. Kevin Hart can deliver a serious performance. This is a thing that he is capable of doing. And most of the time, he doesn't do his Kevin Hartisms anymore. A lot of the stuff that we used to get annoyed with Kevin Hart with, he doesn't do anymore. Now he's older and he's a lot more chill. He finessed Peacock, the streaming service, into funding his podcast with the heart-to-heart thing he does. Literally just drinks wine, talks to people. It's a finesse. But yeah, moral to the story is I think he'll do fine. I think he'll do okay.
I hope so. I hope so. I am. Like I think he is one of the people that ruined Jumanji. Like he did such a horrible job. He didn't portray his character at all. He was Kevin Hart. Same thing with The Rock in that movie. He did a horrible job because he's not an actor. He played a generic dude. He did not play his character well at all. And that's just one example. But like,
really upset about The Rock and Jumanji.
Oh, dude, Kevin Hart and The Rock ruined that movie. Absolutely, could have been a fun movie. Every movie I've seen Kevin Hart in, I haven't watched any of his recent stuff, granted, but every movie I've seen him in, he plays the same character, and it's Kevin Hart. And don't get me wrong, Kevin Hart's funny, but you have to like, and I think Kevin Hart's personality could fit in a Borderlands movie. Perfect.
100%.
Not as the one serious character. Have him as one of the fucking midgets running around. He'd be fucking hilarious.
Or like the robot.
Jack Black's the robot. I think that's phenomenal.
I mean, yeah, Jack Black in most things is a good idea because I mean he's also like a very good actor that can turn in a very good dramatic performance.
He's really talented. Yeah, genuinely.
Yeah. No. I guess it's my turn to get back to these spinoffs because after all, this is a gaming podcast. We went on a mini tangent. This is a deep cut. This is one that I wish got made and never did because we got Fallout 3 instead. Fallout Van Buren. AJ, do you know what Fallout Van Buren is?
Whoa, I wasn't expecting a Fallout Van Buren from you.
Listen, okay, so check it out. For those of us who don't know, Fallout Van Buren was a canceled Fallout game. Yes, they canceled a Fallout game. They probably canceled several that we don't even know about. Fallout Van Buren was interesting because it was the last classic Fallout game that follows the original Fallout formula. A lot of y'all hopped on with Fallout 3 or Fallout New Vegas. No, this is still isometric view, click to move your character, kind of like a CRPG basically, but except the biggest catch, the thing that made it the most interesting, is that you, as the player character, had the goal of getting through the story. Fine. There would be another identical copy of not a player character, but basically your antagonist that could theoretically beat the entire game before you, and that would change your ending, and you would have to react to what they did, and maybe you could slow them down, maybe you could speed up what you did to get to this goal faster. And I think that sounds really fun.
Yeah, no, that would have been super fun, and that's something that could still be implemented. I mean, it wouldn't be able to work the same because it's not that like tactical top down. You know, I feel like it'd work better for that, but I still think you could do something similar to that effect in today's Fallout. I think that idea could still be carried
100%.
over. That's such a unique and cool idea. I was shocked to hear Van Buren come out of your mouth, especially since
Listen,
release. I was expecting New Vegas once you said Fallout. You had me.
Listen, because here's the thing about Fallout New Vegas, right? It wasn't made by Bethesda, and Bethesda hates that. If any time that Todd Howard, anybody from Bethesda gets asked about Fallout New Vegas, they're like, yeah, those guys at Obsidian, they really did their thing. Anyway, Fallout 4.
Yeah. Because
yeah,
they're not going to re-release it. I don't think they can because of licensing issues. And even still, it'd be a nightmare. You have to hand out royalties, and then now Microsoft's involved in all that, and who knows if even Obsidian wants to do that. That'd just be a nightmare to re-release.
They don't. But you want to know what they could do? And granted, Obsidian didn't make Van Buren. That's id Software. id Software still makes Wastelanders, which is very interesting. It's basically Fallout. It's a continuation of the Fallout story, just under a new name. More to the story is Obsidian Entertainment. If you're out there, listen, I hope and pray. I know it may be too late to add this in development. It's okay if it's not in the game. But if Avowed has something similar where there's an antagonist that can just fuck shit up for you as you go through the story and you have to either stop him or beat him to the goal, I would love y'all forever, and I would do something strange. Anyway.
I would love to see that something strange. Moving on. This is definitely less niche of one. Mario Kart. I mean, one of the biggest... how can we have a top spin-off list without Mario Kart? I mean, it is an absolute juggernaut, and there's a reason for that. Almost every entry is phenomenally made. They're of course, there's different things. The item balancing is fucked in a lot of them. Some of I think we were going a little too far with weight and different kart stuff. It should be more simple and streamlined, but at the same time,
Mario Kart on the Wii is probably Mario Kart on the Wii is probably the worst offender of that, where everything is either too heavy or too light,
and then the item balance is horrible.
Yeah, there is
raw in that game. But that's also here's the thing though. That's what makes that game so fun to go back to versus the rest, is that it's just a clusterfuck of just items and stuff. It is, you go in there expecting to get that, and so you have just a goofy fun time. And then there's other classics within the Mario Kart series. You have a Double Dash, fantastic game, really cool. You can team up with friends. Back in college when I was a heavy drinker, we would do Beerio Kart, which if a lot of you don't know, you gotta drink while.
Now hold up, that's the spinoff I want. Tell me about Beerio.
So Beerio Kart, there's a few different ways you could do it, but the general rule is you have to finish your drink before the end of the race, and you can't drink and drive. Meaning you can't be slurping as you're controlling. You have to put the controller down And so what we would do...
That's interesting.
So what we would do to get through it quickly is we would go to the garage and we would shotgun a beer and then sprint to the living room. You finish your beer and quick run to it. And so you would have whoever's quicker at shotgunning be the driver start out. And we would rotate who's driving because you could swap every lap. Yeah. And so we'd rotate who's driving. And so we also made it you can't drink while the front person's driving either. That's the BS, And so we would do that then. So we kind of made a race out of it. And so in between you would do 4 races for the Grand Prix, right? And so in between each race you have to go out, take a shotgun, or sometimes we would opt to do the put the controller down, drink, because you could do the whole race, get to the end, turn towards the wall and just slam it and then finish.
That's That's actually very, very interesting. Now, me, you probably wouldn't guess this by just looking at me, but I can hold my alcohol. There was one New Year's Eve in particular. I drank two, count them, two bottles of champagne by myself, no help, and then woke up, went to work the next day. But apparently, I was smelling like champagne. I was literally sweating it out. It was coming out my pores.
I believe that.
That sounds really fun. That actually ties me back into one of mine, Sonic versus Mario. Literally anything. I think they've done everything but boxing at this point.
Oh, I'm sure there's boxing in one of the Olympic Games. I'm sure there is.
I think so. I hope so. I'm just not positive.
I'm not either. I haven't played that game, like one of those games, since like the 2014 winter one, I think.
Listen, okay,
I do want to play one of the more
Sonic.
recent ones. They look kind of hype. I'm not with the Dream events.
I mean, yeah, the
they look
Sonic
kinda
versus
fun.
Mario is a good idea, right? Give me the Sonic versus Mario movie, okay? Sonic the Hedgehog. He throws a ring. He goes into the wrong ring. He's in Mario Land now. He doesn't know how to get back. Sonic versus Mario, it's a race to get back to whatever somewhere. Mario has a goal. Sonic has a goal. They coincide, but it's a race. Steal that, Hollywood. I'll watch it. AJ, what's another spinoff you got? Because Sonic vs. Mario literally speaks for itself.
It does. I mean, really. I mean, even shoot, you could even include. I mean, it's not really a. I mean, I don't even know what you classify this is, but Smash Bros is kind of like the spinoff of all spinoffs, but also its own mainline series. Like, I don't even know, but there's Sonic vs. Mario there too.
Oh yeah, listen, fun fact. I don't know if this is still true. It was true for many years. The longest piece of American fiction, the longest, like most word count, most letter count, is the Super Smash Brothers fan fiction. It's the longest piece of English fiction in the English language.
Wow.
Because how do you explain what is Smash Brothers without just going on forever?
Yeah, you have to explain every character where they came from and all. Yeah, no,
and then explain how it ties into what's going on right now. It's been going since, I want to say, Brawl, and I think they just updated it for yeah, it's insane, right?
Wow, that's crazy. That's so cool. I love that. Smash is like probably my favorite game franchise ever. It has to.
Listen, I don't know if it's still true, but it was true for a long time. It's true for long enough that I don't care to double check, but I'm probably going to check as soon as we get done here so we can drop these facts in here.
I love it. So speaking of Mario versus Sonic, that also kind of leads me into my next one. Sonic Spinball. So for those of you, yeah, deep cut. And for those of you who don't know, it's a Sega Genesis game, and it has Sonic essentially turning into a pinball game, but you have to get through levels by getting rings and Chaos Emeralds and whatever. It's not easy. Most people don't like it because it's like not the best pinball game ever. But damn it, if it's not a really cool idea, and I'm so nostalgic over it. I played the shit out of it as a kid. Sonic is in like a red jacket, and he has extra spikes, and he has earrings in, and he's all tooted up. It's kind of...
What do you think Sonic went through to go through the spin? Hold up. We need to check when that game came out, because... Is this in that area of time when game developers were like, oh my gosh, hip hop is new, so now we have to make all characters cool? Street Fighter did it. Bunch of different games did it. Was that what Sonic was? When did Sonic Spinball come out?
It came out November 14th, 1993.
Oh, okay. Tail end of the 80s, the 90s hip hop thing.
Yeah.
That's yeah.
And you gotta remember, like,
kind of
back in the day, Sonic was just dripping in attitude. Like, that was his brand. It was the cool hedgehog that, like, broke the rules. You know, like, kind of like the skater culture in a way.
Yeah, he is definitely like very much the skater culture, but then they introduced Shadow the Hedgehog, and then Sonic got to kind of be the Boy Scout, and then Shadow was cool.
Absolutely. I mean, really, I think it started with Sonic Adventure 1. They like toned down his attitude because I think they were kind of going for more of a kid area, and then from there,
same thing as Mario.
Yeah, and then we went and then we went down to Sonic Adventure 2. Shadow gets introduced. Yeah, Sonic tones down a bit, but he's still like, you know, decently serious throughout that game. And then you get to Sonic Heroes, and it's like, hey, how you doing, kids? You know, like it's over the top.
Yeah, because the beef between Sega and Nintendo should be studied in college courses, because literally, like, Sega and Nintendo were going head to head for a very long time until Sega just decided, it's like, we're not gonna make consoles anymore. I personally feel like that was a mistake, but that's just me and my opinion.
And I think that is a great topic for another podcast.
It is a great topic.
Their war is by far, I think, the most interesting console war out of all of them, because they were actively bashing each other. Nintendo. Yes, there's that too. And it's, you know, it's funny because that all stemmed from Nintendo hosing over Sony, and so they were like, fuck you, I'm just gonna go make a world phenomenon for the spite of it. I love it.
Sony literally made the PlayStation out of spite. If you don't know that story, we might have to tell that story, but that's not why we're here. This is a gaming podcast, and we're talking about spin-off games, and my next spin-off game choice is literally anything in the GTA thing. So like GTA, Liberty City Stories, Vice City Stories. My personal favorite is Chinatown Wars, because it's so weird and different. Literally just give me a game in the Grand Theft Auto universe. Put me in Des Moines, Iowa, and call it whatever you want to call it, and I would have a good time just going around collecting money from these interesting people in these trailer parks. Like, that sounds fun.
That sounds like a fucking hoot. I want some sort of, I hope this next game has like some DLC or some stories. I was really sad to see that online took away from all of our DLC, and I'm sure that's going to happen again with this next one. It's going to be the same story. We're getting no DLC because the online, and the online's great, so it's hard to complain. They put so much work into it. They do a fantastic job. But damn it, I wanted to play as, you know, Michael Franklin and Trevor again. I wanted to hop back into that story. I mean, I beat it like 3 times now, but you only can play through a campaign so much before it's like, I get nothing more out of this, you know? I think
funny.
That's a great idea.
It's funny because I got Grand Theft Auto 5 on my PlayStation 5 many months ago. Mm-hmm. Hadn't played it just because life is hard and I've been busy. But recently, this past weekend, I sat down for a couple of hours, played it again, because I just like you, beat it like 3 times on the 360 when it came out, the year it came out, on the 360. And playing it again with like the haptic feedback, and like everything drives so differently now, and like everything's so pretty on this game. It's prettier than I remember, which is even crazier to think about. And I was just like, you know what? I could be okay without a San Andreas Stories. I could be okay.
You know, and there is tons of content there. Granted, that's true across all of them. But I still think it was a little disappointing. But I want to go back to one of the games you mentioned, Chinatown Wars. I absolutely loved playing that on my phone. I think that was a phenomenal phone game. It was top down. It was mainly driving, but it was just so fun to fuck around, because like the 3D ones on the phone like are definitely doable. They're serviceable. They work, but touchscreen controls and buttons and aiming and all that just doesn't work as well on a phone. You know, you don't have physical buttons to feel. It's just not the same.
And the thing about Chinatown Wars that's especially interesting is that it was designed for the DS, a touchscreen entity. And so that's why it translates so well. And I think, honestly, we're well overdue for a Chinatown Wars 2, because, God, that game was good.
Yeah, that'd be so cool. Make it phone exclusive. I don't care. Honestly, make it from the ground up for the phone.
$20?
Dude, I'd still buy it. So many people would buy it. So many people would buy it.
Yeah, no, it would go. Oh my gosh. Rockstar, you are leaving money on. Give me Chinatown Wars 2. While we're mentioning Chinatown Wars, randomly brought this up. Sleeping Dogs, how it's a spinoff of True Crime. That also, Sleeping Dogs is a bitchin' game. If you haven't played Sleeping Dogs, which I don't think you have, it's okay. We'll talk about it later.
I plan on it. I have not yet.
It's one of those games that is a classic for a reason. Kind of like what Alan Wake was. Tiny tangent. Sleeping Dogs doesn't do anything perfectly, but it does so many different things so well that you forget that it's an imperfect product.
Okay, I can believe that. I can get behind that. Now my next one is complete derailment from what we were talking about.
Let's go.
But it's absolute banger. I believe we've mentioned it before. It might have been in one of our Lost to Time episodes, but Pokemon Gale of Darkness.
Oh yeah, brother, I love that game right there. That's the
Hmm.
sequel to
Now,
Coliseum.
yeah, I was about to say. Now, I am going to mention, since we've been a little broader with some of these, the Pokemon Coliseum series, I guess, is more or less what I should say. But more
Hmm.
specifically, Gale of Darkness is the better of the two. It has a stronger story. It's Shadow Lugia. I mean, it's so
Oh my
cool.
god,
I
it's so cool.
I would love a remake of both of those games. It's never gonna happen, but
No,
man,
Nintendo
would I
doesn't
love
really
it.
do remakes. Even for like Mario 64, how it was like a release for like 2 weeks and then you just can't get it anymore on the Switch,
Yeah,
which I'm only a
it,
little pissed
it
about.
was a port too. Like, yeah, they did like some stuff, but it was a port. And then you got, but then at the same time, then Nintendo will drop Super Mario World, or what was it? Super Mario 3D World plus
Yeah, yeah,
Bowser's
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Fury. Like, they did more than upscale the original game. They added a whole ass mini game on top of it. Like,
Hmm.
what the fuck? That's so cool. Like, but then yeah, at the same
Yeah.
time, Nintendo will just leave an insane amount of money on the table on some other remakes. It's crazy, absolutely crazy. Shit, don't even
Yeah,
remake the
no.
games. Port them, please. I.
There's like a handful of gaming companies that do that though. Like Rockstar,
Mm-hmm.
Nintendo, you could make the argument Remedy. Like these gaming companies literally just do what they want and it works.
Yeah, yeah.
That is not a good strategy,
We're
but
just
this is what they do.
we're just sucking from the tit. It's all we can do.
That's all we can do. It's funny, because one, Gale of Darkness is a great game, but this is something that I miss. I miss the Pokemon Ranger games. Do you remember the Pokemon Ranger
I
games?
debated throwing that on, but Pokemon Gale of Darkness took that one out. So
Listen,
yeah.
Pokemon Gale of Darkness is an objectively great game, and then it's the sequel, prequel to Coliseum. It explains
Hmm.
like what the dark Pokemon are. It explains like how this works. Plus, the story is genuinely kind of interesting and dark and gritty in a Pokemon game because like your Pokemon would like actually die. You had to like get their souls back. Shit was wild.
Uh
But
huh.
but with Pokemon Ranger, it brought something different in the sense of like there's literally no other games where you play as Pokemon Rangers. And that's so interesting because in the shows and literally all of the medium, it's like, oh, and by the way, if there's like a problem that's like actually a problem, you don't get the 12-year-old that's accompanied by two random adults and a bunch of monsters. You get the professional Pokemon Rangers.
And like they don't. That's cool is they don't enslave Pokemon, because that's really what it is.
Hmm.
You're taking an animal out of the wild, weakening them, capturing them, and then using them to
Hmm.
fight. I mean,
Hmm.
in every sense of the word, that's what that is. And
Versus
so
Pokemon Rangers.
yeah, they like borrow them. Like they do, they fire their little Beyblade out and like
Hmm.
circle them, and then they like can essentially mind control them to help with the thing, and then they're free to go,
Hmm.
like about their day. Like that is it. Where it's still, you think about it, it's still a little fucked up. It's still at
It's a
least
little
like
weird.
it's not like per taking them away from their life. At least it's like, hey,
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
need you for 5 minutes to get this cat out of the tree, and you're chilling. You're good to go, then, buddy.
For sure. And then the Pokemon games were interesting because I think you got only three instead of like the six or nine that you're normally allowed.
I
Like you
think
only got
so.
three Pokemon that you could actually get and keep with you. And so that means that when you went to these environments, and let's say you went to this cave thing in the middle of this jungle, and your goal is to go to the bottom of this cave, get something, come back out. The problem is there's a bunch of rocks everywhere. You got three magic art with you. So now you need a Geo dude. Be like, hey, listen, Bubba, like just come over here, just move this out the way for me. And then like you have to be smart. You have to like,
Hmm.
yo, like maybe I gotta bring this rope so that way it's easier for me to get here. It's actually a super interesting idea that works
Hmm.
stupidly well. The Pokemon Ranger games shouldn't work as well as they do.
Yeah,
Um,
no, I agree. I would love for them to bring that back. I think they're not interested in it because they don't have touchscreen any. I mean, the Switch does have touchscreen, but if it's on the TV, it's kind of tough. But I think that's probably Nintendo's stupid reasoning for it. But it's still, I think, a fantastic idea. And we could, I mean, you have the Joy-Con has their tracking. You could still like circle.
mhm.
I think it's still doable. I would love to see it come back. It's not gonna happen, but I'd love to.
Listen, but it could. It could. Maybe if we like, comment, and subscribe, share the video, maybe Nintendo will see it, and maybe they won't care, but at least they saw it. Um,
My
AJ, you mentioned that you had some honorable mentions.
actually, I had one more on this list of 5.
Oh, you got one more. Okay, cool. What's the 5?
I'm gonna do my final Nintendo shill. This is my personal favorite time killer. I mean, shit. If I'm sitting on hold, even I'll be like,
Oh, I know what it is. Okay.
I will whip out the NES. Turn on my TV right here, and I'll just sit here while I'm on hold. Dr. Mario.
I literally thought you were finna say Persona, but
Yeah, good guess, but no. Dr. Mario. I mean, like, literally, such a good time killer. I think it's a crime that there is not a Dr. Mario phone app. That blows my mind. It would work so well on the phone. There was at one point, but the service just shut down, and it was online only. Like, I think you were competing. I never played it. It was before I got into it, but I think you were competing against other people. Like, it wasn't just Dr. Mario. They made it all mobile phony, and it was like you had energy and shit. I think, like, it was like fucking stupid.
Oh yeah.
Like,
I vaguely remember them.
Can we just get some just standard as Dr. Mario? Have it like in a taller. Obviously, you have to rework it a little bit taller of a thing. You swipe down, it'll just fall. You tap to rotate it, and that's literally all you need for control. You'd like swipe left and right to move it left and right. That's all you need for controls. Charge me $10. I'll eat that shit up. I'd play it all the time. Anyways, Dr. Mario, my last of my big spinoffs, my top 5.
I saw your eyes glaze over a little bit. You can gush about it more if you just want to.
And it's not this amazing game. It's a simple puzzle game where you're dropping pills and matching colors, but just something about it so satisfying and just enjoyable. I like, I'm not. Yeah. It's funny because I'm not a big Tetris person, but it plays kind of like Tetris in a way. I mean, it is different.
You're not a Tetris person?
It's fine. I think it's over. I mean, I understand why it was big for the time, but it's fine. It's. I never have really gotten super into it. I appreciate it for what it is.
Okay, that's fair. I could just see you playing Tetris right now. I can see it. I can watch it happen. I can see you just on stream, just like long piece. Like I can see it.
Let's do it.
This is interesting because I thought almost for sure you were gonna put an Infamous on here. I was almost positive because you could put, the Infamous. What was the one where you play as the girl with the neon powers? I mean, you could First Light. Boom. You
I
could
thought
argue
about
the same thing
too.
for Second Son too. Because I was like, shit, like I don't want to put anything on the list that is Infamous. Also, I don't even know if you can count these as spinoffs because technically they're all sequels. But like, dog, just give me another Splinter Cell. How about that?
Yeah, we need another Splinter Cell, especially with like how big our online is and like co-op making a comeback. Splinter Cell needs to come back. I completely agree. I do have a list of honorable mentions, so I think we'll just kind of rapid fire through these a bit. I don't think we need to go in depth about every single one of these. So first of all, Kirby Air Ride, very hidden gem. Sonic Riders.
With the snowboards and shit.
Not snowboards, but hoverboards. Yes,
hoverboards. There we go. Yes. That game.
It is way more technical than you'd think. That game is like
interesting. Yeah,
harder than you'd think, which is crazy. Pokemon Go.
Pause. Of course, Pokemon Go. You said it was harder than you think. I said pause. We can keep going. Anyway.
Okay. No, let's go back. Sonic Riders is. It's not a hard game, but I guess it's more technical than you'd think.
Why are you talking about how hard this is? It's okay.
Oh, you said pause. I said okay. Let's go back. No, we're back. We're back here now. What do you have to say?
We're back to how hard Sonic rides. All right.
Yeah. How? What was your point?
My point was my favorite level was San Francisco, riding Sonic down the very large hill.
Yes,
it was great.
Yes. Although I'm gonna throw a caveat in there that was a Sonic Adventure 2, not Sonic Riders, but yes, I do agree.
Was that? Wait, okay. Hold up. I'm blurring the games. I know what you're talking about.
Okay.
But let's keep going.
Let's keep going. Pokemon Go.
Yes, of course.
Of course. Apex Legends, which for those of you that don't know, is a spin-off of Titanfall. It is in the same universe, and so it is technically a spin-off of Titanfall.
Does that not make you upset that we're not getting Titanfall 3 because we have Apex Legends?
I've been upset for a while. Super Mario Bros. The original, which yes, it did
Hmm.
start the Super Mario franchise, absolutely, but it started off as a spin-off from the Donkey Kong arcade game. So Super
And they
Mario
actually
Bros.
remade those. Did you mention those earlier? How they remade them? And
I don't think I did. Go ahead.
yes, yeah, they remade them. What was it? Mario versus Donkey Kong.
Yep.
Yeah,
And that's
that just
like,
came out recently.
granted, I wouldn't. I think the original is remade in there, but Mario vs. Donkey Kong is also more than that. I don't know if you ever played any of the
Yes.
old games. I had one on Game Boy Advance and DS, I believe. I could be wrong on that. But it has the same theme, but it is like puzzles to get there in a way. And I do think they had the original in there always. So I'm sure it's remade. I haven't played the new one. I really want to. They're super fun. Anyways, next one is what you were gonna call me out on, the Persona series. So
There we go.
I didn't want to pick. I didn't want to put this on my top 5, even though it is, because it's its own series at this point, just like how Mario is, right? I can't put Super Mario Bros. Anymore because it is its own thing. But they started off as a spin-off of Shin Megami Tensei, and so because of that, and it still technically is. Because of that, I have it in honorable mentions, but Persona 5 Royal belongs up in my top 1. Anyways, at least 3. Next, Sonic Rush, 2D Sonic game on the DS. It was really cool, and actually what's really interesting is the first instance of Sonic's boost mechanic.
Yeah, where you can.
Yeah, a lot of people
I don't
thought...
know why I made the noise.
I love it. A lot of people thought that Unleashed was the first one because that was the first mainline, first big 3D one, but no. Rush was the first one. I think it was done so well there. It was so satisfying. At this point, it's overdone, but I think it works really well in 2D if it's implemented right like it was there. The second Rush is fine, but the first one's phenomenal.
What about Sonic Unleashed 2? You think they would ever make a Sonic Unleashed 2?
I would,
as good as that game was?
I would absolutely love it. I think the wolf stages were super mid, but if they were done right, they could be done really well. And I think with what we've learned today with modern gaming, I think it could be a lot better.
Okay, so we're thinking Sonic meets Devil May Cry meets Hyrule Warriors, Sonic Rule
Yeah,
Warriors.
yeah. I mean, because right now it feels a lot like how Final Fantasy VII Remake feels, which I know this is blasphemous for me to say because people like it, but it's just like you just sit there and fight like 1 to 4 enemies at once and just spam one button. And I know that's a lot of what Warriors games are, but at least Warriors games is it's like massive crowds and you have like all these over the top abilities, so at least it's like spectacle, right? With Final Fantasy VII, like yeah, there's spectacle, but a lot of like the combat in between, at least from what I played, I couldn't beat it. I got so bored. But at least the in between was just a lot of, and I know you stand this earlier, but Final Fantasy 16 felt kind of the same way. I enjoyed it, couldn't get through it because it is like, and don't get me wrong, the spectacle at least was there in that one. I felt like more.
Oh yeah,
because you had the fights between gods was so cool. Those moments were awesome.
Not to mention,
but the lulls in between
like there are fights
was
literally falling down abysses that are in between dimensions, between two monsters the size of skyscraper. It's insane.
So cool. But those lulls in between of just generic combat lost me, and that's what lost me the same in Unleashed, the first one. It was just generic combat. I lost a lot of people in those moments. But the 3D Sonic was some of the best it's ever been. It's phenomenal. Moving on, Halo Wars. This does not get nearly enough love. This game is freaking badass.
It's pretty cool.
And to round out my honorable mentions, I have to show one last time for Nintendo. Mario Party.
Yeah, Mario Party is one of those undeniable things. I'll never forget. Me and my girlfriend, we have a friend, and our friend was really into substances. I'm not gonna say the substances, but you can use your imagination. So one time, me, my girl, her little sister, our friend was asleep on a chair on a wall, literally just in the middle of a Mario Party game, and we'd be like, "Hey, like it's your turn," and motherfucker would literally just wake up, just go go back to sleep. Craziest part, she won that game. Anyway,
I
that
love
was
it.
amazing.
That's another drinking game we did back when I was in college, and it's, you know, something I'd actually love to revisit. I think that'd be a fun stream. Drinkio Party, where, I mean, now this one is a little bit more rule heavy, but, you know, like certain things, like, you know, if you get first in a minigame, don't take a drink. If you get second, you take 1 drink. Third, you take 2. Third, you take 3. If you lose coins on a space, you got to take a drink, hit a Bowser space. We would do a shot before, but I don't know if I'm there anymore. You know, we just have like different things, and so, or you could take a shotgun, whatever you'd prefer, because we're in college, right? And so we did different things, and I thought it'd always be really cool stream actually to have like essentially like
that could be fun.
Drunk Mario Party. I think that'd be
that could be really
super fun.
Yeah, that just makes me very excited. Anytime there are drinks in video games, I get very excited. I don't have an alcohol problem, but I am alcohol's problem. Anyway, man, I'm trying to think of like any more that I'm just like blanking out on, and I'm sure like the next time we see each other, I'm be like, oh, there's this game and that game and the other game, but I can't think of anything in particular. Oh, here we go. You got one? You got one?
There's one that popped in my head randomly. This is not a super great game, but Sonic Battle on the Game Boy Advance. It's a 3D fighting game, but it's also like a platform. It's like a 3D platform fighter. Actually, somewhat unique, and it's a Sonic game, which I loved. It's actually, if you'd see any Sonic character doing like fighting with some really nice sprite animation, they're almost always ripped from that game. People get a lot of sprite animations from that game because they have like every character in it at the time, of course. That game was super cool. Man, I know I'm going to be thinking of a lot of games right after, but
right. Oh, one quick honorable mention, because we are getting a little close on time. We're at like 41 minutes. We're all right. One quick mention: Marvel Nemesis, that Marvel fighting game that has nothing to do with Capcom. Do you remember that game?
I actually don't.
Marvel Nemesis was a weird ass game. Imagine Power Stone, except it's like Marvel characters, so Wolverine, Spider-Man, Venom, all of them together, just like beating the shit out of each other in 3D environments. Like, it's insane. And the story was also crazy. It was like some weird story about like the people snatching souls, and so like they're putting the heroes against each other, and like people die in that game. There are like some characters that just don't come back once you beat the story. But yeah, that game is brutal.
I do want to give an honorable mention to a spin-off game that hasn't released yet, but it honestly looks so cool. I hope they do more. It's the upcoming Super Princess Peach movie game. I forget exactly what it's called, but it looks...
It'll be on the screen. It's fine.
Yes, it will. It looks really interesting, and they're like, they're doing all new kind of gameplay. It's not just like, oh, Peach and Mario's world. Kind of like Luigi's Mansion. I mean, another great one where they did something different with it. So I'm really excited for Peach's own game. I hope it kind of spawns into a side thing like Luigi's Mansion. I'm sure that's what they're trying to do, because why wouldn't they? Especially like trying to appeal to a broader audience with females.
And they've done Super Princess Peach before on the Game Boy Advance.
Yeah.
And and it wasn't as great. It didn't look as interesting, but like neither did Super Mario RPG.
And well, like
remade it.
What's really odd to go back to that game in this, they wouldn't release that Peach game in this day and age, because all of her abilities are based on emotions, which kind of like
pretty good.
I mean, yes. But it's like all because
yes,
it's a woman. Which
I mean, AJ, are you saying that women don't have feelings, AJ? What's the problem?
They do just the same amount as men. Is my point.
AJ, I like how you saw my trap and you smartly walked away from it. I'm very proud of you.
Hey, this is this is an all-inclusive podcast. We aren't anything-ist here.
We aren't I like that. We aren't anything-ist here. This is a gaming podcast that you can like, comment, and subscribe to. AJ, is there anything else you want to tell these amazing people?
It is a joy as always to see you guys. Look forward to the next episode. Anthony?
Likewise, likewise. Peace. We love you. We think about you and talk about you all the time. We will see you in the next one.
And as always, stay mediocre.